very pleasant good morning, everybody. Welcome into the 615 Preps Scoreboard presented by Fifth Year Technology Concepts. As you can see, we are all over the place this morning. Joe and Cam are on the way to Knoxville. KJ's in an airport somewhere, and Scott and I are in our usual seats. But what's not usual is some of the game from last night, and we got to talk about them. Guys, your initial reaction to what we saw last night around the area. Scott, I'll start with you. What you got for me?
Well, yeah, there was a lot of surprises, from different areas, but a lot of close games early. I think a lot of teams were hyped up for this. A lot of the teams that we expected to win may have struggled early. It was kind of chaos. On the sidelines, Joe and I were discussing, and it was still really kind of we just kind of give each other looks when we get scores in. So, the more you think you know, right?
Yeah, no, it was a wild night of games. Scott, like Scott said, we were just looking at scores and being like, wow, that one's weird. That one's wild. We looked at the Oakland Riverdale score, and I was in disbelief. Cam, my partner to my left here, was not, as he says. I don't think he expected that score, but whatever. His game was wild. Our game got really close there for a while, and then CPA pulled away. So postseason football, it's here and alive.
It is very much here and alive, and we've got several scores to talk about, so let's just dive right in. We'll start in Class 1A. Gordonsville and South Pitt meet every year in the playoffs, it seems like. This edition goes to the Pirates in a big way, 48-7, and the South Pitt now 13-0, and looking very, very strong in that 1A part of the bracket.
Yeah, Coach Stone illuminated the fact that it had been 371 days from 2022 when Gordonsville knocked them out. And truthfully, Camden Wellington, the Pirate quarterback, he threw for 2 touchdowns. He ran for another in the first half. This team has all the defense, and they've got some playmakers on offense, and they are going to be very, very tough.
Yeah, South Pitt just a different beast this year, guys. I mean, they're going to they're going to probably make it to the state title game and then take on a really good McKenzie or Dresden team. So they're just different. Gordonsville had a great year, though. Bright future ahead.
Yeah, what a year Jay Foster had for them. Just a sophomore. Future is definitely bright for the Tigers. And Coach Jackson has to be excited.
Yep, they finished with an 8-5 mark this year, and another quarterfinal run for Gordonsville is a good year for them, but it does fall a little bit short. South Pitt will travel to Oliver Springs next week, while McKenzie will host Dresden in the semifinals, and they'll meet up in Chattanooga on December 1st at 2 o'clock Central Time for that championship game down there in the Scenic City. Cam, you were over the whole Smith County, and boy, East Robertson put it on them.
Yeah, they did. East Robertson won the coin toss, elected to take the football, and took up about half the first quarter on that opening drive, capped on a 4th-and-1 conversion by Isaiah Groves in his first of 4 touchdowns on the night. Smith County punts and pins East Robertson deep. Isaiah Groves takes, on 3rd and 12, takes basically a throwback screen, 85 yards to the house. And then the route was on from there as he had another 80-yard touchdown run in the first quarter where he was not touched. And Smith County really, was kind of shell-shocked early on by Isaiah Groves' performance. And one of the big kickers in that game was Elijah Groves. His ability on defense, he had a pick 6, had 4 or 5 tackles for loss, was everywhere all over the field. East Robertson definitely has their senior leader focused and concentrated on trying to get a trip to Chattanooga, and they took a huge step last night. Smith just never really could get anything going. Freshman quarterback Riley Martin had a rough night last night, had 3 interceptions. So, definitely a very enticing and dominant win for the Indians, as they'll take a road trip up to Jamestown next week to battle up against a really good York defense.
Isaiah Groves, 254 yards rushing on 21 carries, 3 touchdowns. That 84-yard touchdown catch that Cam just mentioned, 338 yards of total offense. Elijah Groves had that pick six, a 65-yarder, 8 tackles. Xavier Groves had 2 picks, and then one of those was a 75-yard return. A big dominant performance from East Robertson.
Yeah.
And as Cam said, they're making a road trip next week.
Yeah, that's a statement win for East Robertson there to go into the hole and put it on Smith County like they did. That's just an incredible performance defensively and offensively.
How about the other side of the bracket too? You got Riverside getting some revenge against Huntington. So you had 2 teams last night that lost the regular season matchups, get wins, and now you could see those 2 teams playing here in Chattanooga here in 2 weeks if they take care of business next week.
Yep, Riverside at home against Fairleigh, and then those 2 winners going to meet up on that Saturday afternoon in Chattanooga at 2 o'clock Central Time for that championship game. We're going to slide over and get some 3 highlights real quick. Out of East Nashville last night, Liberty Creek had an opening drive to potentially take the lead, but they couldn't convert on it. Martez Lamb finds Ernest Woodard here at the 20-yarder to get the scoring started. 7-zip Eagles. Next offensive play, Liberty Creek fumbles. East Nashville takes advantage. Here's Keith Johnson from 9 yards out. They scored twice in 28 seconds, and it's 14-0. Wolves get on the board here in the second quarter. Brian Rager scrambling around, buying some time, and finds Dylan Mitchell in the end zone to make it 14-7. Looked like the Wolves were going to be in it. Kenny Fuller Jr., though, returned the next kickoff for a touchdown. It was 74 yards, just 17 seconds later, 21-7. Pick here by Jordan Houston. And 1 of 5 turnovers on the night for Liberty Creek that the Eagles forced. We'll take this into the third quarter. East Nashville's going to set sail. Keelan Anderson, 6 yards out. It's 27-7. Extra point hit the upright there. And they weren't done. Elijah Usher, this is the tail end of his 78-yard touchdown run. It made it 34-7 at the end of the third quarter. Liberty Creek, though, does get some more points before the end. It's Rager again. Goal is right. Kyle Farmer fights his way across the goal line. Anderson added another 74-yarder. East Nashville rolls, though, 41-14.
Keelan Anderson, 41-14 win over Liberty Creek. You guys accomplished a lot of things tonight. You're moving on to the semifinals. You get to practice on Thanksgiving morning. What's that mean for you?
It means a lot. Just being able to make another state run. Being able to stop Liberty Creek because they've been winning 42-0, and it was a real good game towards the beginning. But now just we got one goal. Just trying to get back to state.
Feels like you guys found another gear in the second half on offense, especially with your long touchdown runs. What was the biggest difference tonight here?
The biggest difference was, it really wasn't a big difference, but they do got a good running back. But, I don't know where to really talk. I don't know. It's a lot to take in right now, but yeah, we watch film, study Dave's plays, and just execute it.
You know how hungry this team is after the last couple of years in state. What would getting back there mean to you guys?
It would mean a lot being able to go back a third time, eventually getting the gold ball instead of the silver.
Now, Thanksgiving morning. Talk to me about that because it's a special thing when you get to practice on Thanksgiving. What's waking up that morning going to feel like for you?
I was going to feel good. Coming out here to practice again, just get ready for the next game.
All right, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, man. Talk to me about this because, you guys played Liberty Creek. It's a 14-point game the first time around. This time, y'all guys put it on them in the second half. What was the difference in bigger score this time?
It's playoffs. Everyone's more hungrier. We wanted more. We want to get to Chattanooga worse than ever, and I feel like we definitely showed that tonight.
The running game of the second half, Keelan broke off 2 really big ones. Talk to me about him as a running back, having him as a weapon in the backfield. As many weapons as you have,
Yeah, I actually got 2, man. They're unstoppable, and they're only sophomores. KJ and Keelan, no matter what, I can throw a quick out to them and they'll make a play, or hand the ball off and they'll make a play. They're some young playmakers.
Seems like you guys have another gear in you. You think you got more in the tank than what showed tonight, or?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. A lot of the, we were undisciplined this game. I say there's a lot of things that we can fix on and capitalize on because we had a good performance, but we're definitely still a way better team.
Big win, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Coach, big night from the defense, 5 turnovers, 4 sacks, a relentless pass rush, and just an overall top effort from you guys. What's tonight mean for this team moving forward?
It was big. Beating a team like Liberty Creek, who's phenomenal. They got a great quarterback. Coach does a phenomenal job with all his schemes. So preparing for them was definitely a headache. But Coach Cameron Watkins, our D coordinator, he did a great job coming up with different schemes and blitzes to try to counter some of the things that they plan on doing. And luckily, we came out victorious.
And KJ's been so big for you guys all year long, but then Keelan steps up, has 2 big runs in the second half.
Yes.
That 2-headed monster in the backfield, how important is that for you guys?
Yes. Having, like I said before, having 2 running backs of that caliber is very important. It makes calling plays kind of easy for me sometimes, too. I can't take all the credit. Coach Curry, again, the O-line coach, he don't play with that O-line, and they making some holes for the players, so all they got to do is run.
Looking forward to that Thanksgiving practice, aren't you?
Yeah, that's always the goal of mine is make sure you're practicing on that Thursday morning for Thanksgiving and win that Friday night so you can play the state championship.
Appreciate it, Coach. Congratulations.
Yeah, here's the scary thing. The biggest contributions last night from this East National team came from underclassmen. Lamb's a junior. They've got sophomores in the backfield. And Elijah Usher is a senior, and Jordan Houston's a senior. But the underclassmen were what really got this thing going for East Nashville last night, and that should send the message to 3A for next year too.
Yeah, they play extremely well as a team. Chris, I 100% agree with you. I think this East Nashville team has they've got nowhere to go but up right now.
Future is very bright.
Yeah. Speaking of futures, Liberty Creek, a really good season to set them up for the future. Brian Rager had an outstanding year. When you go to the playoffs for the first time and make it to the quarterfinals, it says a lot about the job that Bill Alexander did over there at Liberty Creek, and a tough one for them to go out on. But when you win your first 2 playoff games, that's still a special season.
Yeah, for sure. And Brian being a senior this year, what a job he did leading that Wolves program. And as you said, what a job Coach Alexander has done in the first 2 years of that program. It'll be interesting to see. We saw a lot of strides and a lot of growth from that program outside of Brian this year. It'll be interesting to see if they can continue that momentum after Brian leaves the program in the offseason. So some work to do for the Wolves program, but I have no doubt that Coach Alexander will continue growing that program.
Semifinals shape up like this: Dyersburg at East Nashville and Giles County hitting the road to travel to Alcoa. Those winners will meet up Friday morning, December 1st in Chattanooga for the 3A title.
Alcoa Giles is interesting to me. I still think Alcoa wins, but that's a Giles County team that's played really well since dropping its first 2 games of the year. They beat up on an undefeated Meigs team last night, and I think they could give Alcoa some fits potentially next week, but Alcoa is Alcoa until somebody beats them.
Right.
Upperman knocks off Macon County 17-14. The Bees hang on late with Macon County trying to come back from a 17-7 hole. They aren't able to do it, and the Bees advance. They're now 13-0 with the second win over the Tigers.
Yeah, my understanding is from thank you out there to Tim Morgan, who was supplying us with updates, that Macon had a chance in the first half to go into halftime with the lead, had a long pass, but it was stripped and turned the ball over. And then Upperman kept the ball for like the last 11 minutes of the game. Macon County's right there, just could not get over the proverbial hump there with Upperman in this case. But a great season for the Tigers, and Upperman just doing what they do, playing good defense.
Yeah, Macon County had 2 turnovers in this one. As you said, Scott hit the big long pass play, and that ball was stripped inside the 5-yard line at the end of the first half. And that drive to end the game, that was a 20-play, 10-minute and 56-second drive for the Bees, where they did not score. The game ended with them with the ball inside of Macon's 20-yard line, and they also picked up 2 fourth-down conversions on that drive. So, great game, and we expected a dogfight, and both of us in this car actually picked that score exactly right. So,
Oh, hey, look at us! Who would have thought?
yeah, what a game, and it'll be interesting to see what the future holds for a Macon County team that, as some of the other teams we just talked about, is loaded with underclassmen. So I don't think Macon County is going anywhere.
Yep. Pearl Cone struggled a bit with Marshall County for a while, but in the second half they got it going, and when they went 41-21. So Firebirds kind of got the challenge they really badly needed because they haven't been tested in several weeks.
The last couple weeks, honestly. I mean, you look the last 3 of their 4 games, the starters have had to play the entire game.
Well, Marshall County kind of pulled a page out of the station camp playbook, slowing the pace down in that first half, able to take an 18-14 halftime lead. Pearl also hurt themselves, cost themselves a couple of scores in that first half. But they come out the second half, kick off to Marshall County, get a pick, and then a couple of plays later, Keyshawn Tarleton hits Darius Reed with his second score of the night. From there, the Firebirds wouldn't trail anymore. They hold the Tigers just 3 second-half points. Good night for Zion Simpson, 165 yards on the ground, 2 scores. And like you said, Chris, Pearl gets a challenge. They overcome it. And this Pearl Cone team, this may be the medicine that they need.
Yeah, well, what we've seen out of that team the last 2 weeks is they went into half in pretty competitive games both weeks. And it's like a light switch. That's what I told Joe when we were talking about it before we came on. It's like they flip a light switch, and then they just blow the doors off anybody that they want to. So, Pearl Cone team gets a rematch with a Haywood team. Of course, Haywood is down. They don't have Cordero Walker like they did last year. They don't have the receiver like they did last year. So, Pearl Cone's definitely the favorite there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Firebirds come out with a little bit more fire next week out of the gate.
Yep. They'll be at home with that rematch with Haywood, and Opperman will head to Greenville in the other semifinal. And
Greenville is the biggest question mark to me because they've played 2 less games than everybody else, but they just win. They know how to win games. I mean, this is a team historically that wins state titles. Upperman, I think they're peaking. They played a really close game yesterday, obviously, but this is a young team that's playing really well. And as for Pearl Haywood suffered some injuries these last couple of weeks to some key players. But it's Haywood. They're the best team in West Tennessee for a reason, in my opinion. They always have athletes. They have the athletes to match up step for step with Pearl. I just think this Pearl Cone team is a little deeper, and being at home on that new turf, it would be hard for them to stop them.
Yeah, and that Greenville Upperman game, Upperman, it does have some underclassmen, but their story all year has been the revenge tour. They're wanting to go 15-0 and get Chattanooga and win a gold ball. And so far they've been able to beat every team that's knocked them off. Now, I'm sure if you would have asked them about the revenge tour, they would have hoped to have been playing Elizabethton in this game. But, a Greenville team that has kind of come out of nowhere this year. And as Joe said, is a big question mark. But our friends up at the Upper Cumberland Reporter will have this one on their Facebook page this week. So be sure to tune in to them if you're interested in this game. But it should be 2 really good semifinal matchups. And, for our coverage sake, hopefully maybe we get a Pearl Cone Upperman.
Yep. They will face off in Chattanooga Saturday morning, December 2nd at 10 a.m. Central Time for that 4A championship game. Oh, Page and Centennial with a battle last night, and Patriots end up with the win 14-7. They keep on going. They're 12-1.
Yeah, we knew this was going to be a defensive battle. I just didn't know if we knew it was going to be this much of a defensive battle. So much so that one of the top defenders actually scores the winning touchdown. Eric Hazard. Who knew?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
a late touchdown pass for that one.
I said on the show this week that, I thought Pages clearly had the best defense in 5A football. And I think what Centennial showed is they may have the second best defense in 5A football. So that was a great football game. Ultimately, just too much Patriots. They were able to limit the rushing attack for the Cougars, and that was the big key, slowing down Dominic Reed. And Dominic was able to score the lone touchdown for the Cougars, but what a performance by that Patriot defense.
Yep. 22 carries, 101 yards, and a score for Ethan Cunningham. And Eric Hazard had that game-winning touchdown pitch in the fourth quarter. Jonathan Palmer, 15 of 23, 190 yards, and a TD for the Patriots. Centennial, a very good year, but it does fall to an end at 10-3 with that loss. Now, the 5A bracket looks like this. Page is going to see Southwind coming in. The Southwind knocked off Henry County last night, and then Walker Valley goes to Knoxville West.
That's a big win for Southwind to walk into Paris and come out with a win there.
It really was. And, we talk about these young players, but, man, Kelvin Perkins at Southwind, just a sophomore. So Southwind, I don't believe the Jaguars are going anywhere. Great matchup next week, him versus that Patriot defense. And then on the other side, me and Joe was talking about this too. We both picked Powell over Knox West this week, and Knox West not only won that game, but won it convincingly. So could possibly be setting up for a rematch of last year's game, and I think the Patriots will be okay with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
What we don't get is a third edition of Henry County and Page because Southwind's win will rob us of that. That would have been an interesting semifinal for the third time in 3 years. But it's right. Southwind at Page and Walker Valley at Knoxville West. Those two winners will meet up in Chattanooga on Friday night, December 2nd, or December 1st, I believe, actually. Look at that score. Nobody, and I mean nobody, expected 56-0. If you did, you're lying.
Except him.
Except Cam.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No.
How are you still in the car with him, Joe? I mean, how is there room for you and his ego?
He knew. I mean, that's the thing. That's why I didn't say much on it. He knew.
Beating a team as good as Oakland twice in a season is very hard.
Right.
And you beat them the way that Riverdale did. Oakland was always going to come out fired up for this game. But to be up 49-0 at the half, that's different. That's just absurd. Riverdale didn't help themselves. They turned the ball over several times in this game. A lot of unforced errors. Honestly, you look at some of the fumbles that happened that just slipped away. Oakland took advantage of those issues, and you can't do that against Kevin Creasy-led team, especially when DeJuan Morris is playing as good as he is right now. I'd argue he's the best player in 6A right now. He's going to be the best player in 6A next year. Oakland's rolling, and their defense is just hot.
Yeah, Corey Smith
only allowed 3 points defensively throughout the playoffs so far against two really good offenses in Gallatin and Riverdale. Matt Juliet's offense banged up a little bit, but what a performance by Oakland, man. And it's one of those things, you mess with the bull, you get the horns kind of thing. Riverdale talked a lot about after that game, and Oakland didn't say much. And that they definitely let their play talk last night in dominating fashion. But what a year Riverdale had. Braden Graham, I still think he's probably the favorite to win Mr. Football in 6A. Maybe. What a year they've had, and they'll have to find some answers for next year as they lose several weapons. But man, what a fun game and a fun team that was to watch earlier in the season with Brock and Jalen Thompson and a lot of just great football players on that Riverdale team that you'll see play on Saturdays.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Morris, and deservedly so. 18 carries, 174, 5 touchdowns. But Joe, I agree. The defense was the news here. Corey Smith, 6 tackles, a sack, 2 fumble recoveries. They hold the Warriors to 6 yards rushing.
Jeez.
117 total yards.
That's
recovered 4 fumbles and turned them all into points. Held Riverdale out of the red zone all night and went 6 of 7 in the red zone themselves. An absolute statement by the Patriots with this game.
Corey Smith's one of the most underrated players in the state. Dude's a beast. He has been for years. I first noticed him a couple of years ago in that Lipscomb Academy game where he was all over the field that night. And then last year he led that defense. This year he's just having an incredible year. But man, good luck, Bradley Central.
Yeah, one big thing for Oakland. Chris, you talked about it, having seen that first matchup.
Yeah.
I felt like last night, although DeJuan had 4 touchdowns, I felt like they were a lot more balanced with the carries. I felt like action was a factor last night.
Yeah.
Just keeping that defense honest allowed for DeJuan to get out in space and to kind of do his thing. And when he's able to do that, I mean, there's not really anybody better right now. So
yeah, 18 carries, 174 yards, 5 touchdowns for DeJuan Morris. Ashton Jones, 11 carries, 57 yards, and 2 scores. Avery Hainsworth added 1 as well. All 8 touchdowns coming on the ground for Oakland. And, a little more balance this time for sure from the carry department. They averaged 6 yards a carry as a team, and Oakland is going to go on back to the semifinals for, I believe, the 10th consecutive year.
that is correct. Jesus. 10 in a row.
Yep. Let's go not too fast, but Brentwood 27-20. Ravenwood led this game for a little while, but the Bruins showed why they're 13-0 and came back in the second half to grab this one. But good showing from the Raptors regardless.
Welcome back, Matthew Manning. He's back from injury, had 2 touchdowns last night. They need him. They're going to need him next week.
Well, the difference in this ball game is it was 14-10 Ravenwood at the half, and out of half, Walker Merrill takes the opening kickoff of the second half, 95 yards, and that really changed the game. And Brentwood actually got up 27-14, and Ravenwood was able to add a late score. But we talk about the 3 phases of the games, and anytime you have a game where teams are pretty close offensively and defensively, special teams play can swing it, and it sure enough did last night for the Bruins.
Big turn of events and special teams there for Brentwood. And this Ravenwood team's got some underclassmen too. They're going to really contribute next year.
Yeah,
and we'll be a team to watch in 6A for sure.
Yeah, their quarterback is he a sophomore?
Yes.
Chris. And he's played very well in the second half. The thing that would I guess that kind of raised my eyebrows is that Ravenwood was able to put up 335 yards of offense on this Brentwood defense, and that's something that not a lot of teams have been able to do this year.
Yeah.
And that tells you the growth of the Ravenwood offense, along with what has been a very good Brentwood defense. I really that kind of shocked me because I knew it would be a defensive game, but to see that many yards put up on Brentwood, it definitely raised some eyebrows.
Yeah, good night from Femi Babalola, the Ravenwood quarterback, 17 of 34, 233 yards and a touchdown. Also ran for a touchdown, had a 26-yarder there in the second quarter.
He's going to be very good.
Yeah, I just want to shout out, I believe this was Carter Pace's last game. I believe he's a senior. Little brother there, Caden, had a touchdown in last week's playoff game. He's one to watch next year as well. So that Ravenwood team is definitely not going anywhere.
Yep. Brentwood's going to host Houston next week, and as we mentioned, Oakland on the road at Bradley Central in those semifinals.
Houston is the Brentwood version of Memphis, I think. I think these two teams are very similar. They have a really good quarterback in Chandler Day. They have a really good running back in Damone Cisa. Their result last night against Germantown, I gave Scott a lot of heck for it last night.
He did.
I was like, didn't you pick Germantown to win state? And
yes, did.
Just give him so much crap. But I'm just messing with him. But Houston was dominant in that game. They controlled the game from the get-go, and they're a very balanced team, just like Brentwood. I think Brentwood has the advantage of hosting, whereas Oakland will go to Bradley Central. I know Bradley Central's quarterback got hurt last night. Boo Carter's still Boo Carter. Marcus Gorey is Marcus Gorey. Oakland's hot right now, though. So I think these are two great semifinal matchups next week.
Yep. They'll end it in December 2nd in Chattanooga with that last championship game in 6A. Whoever those two teams are going to be, we may get an Oakland Brentwood rematch from 2020.
Well, maybe we can do it again. Guys, would it be 4 years in a row of all Middle Tennessee 6A state final?
Yes.
Yes.
Don't jinx it.
It would. If that was the case, it would be, yeah.
Brentwood, Oakland, wasn't it?
It was Brentwood.
Brentwood,
Brentwood Oakland in 20, Oakland Summit in 21.
21, Oakland Beach in 22.
Yep.
Ravenwood played. That was the one.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back in 100 seconds. Let's hear from our fine playoff sponsors, Python Line Sets. Keeping on with the scores, we're into Division II now, and congratulations to Middle Tennessee Christian. They're going to be in a championship game for the first time ever, 35-27, with a win over Columbia Academy. They didn't need triple overtime this time.
No, well-deserved win for the Cougars, and another great game for them. Just offense. They get their offense going against a really good Columbia Academy team. Monte Baldwin did what he did, but MTCS, I think, just a little deeper of a team, and very well-deserved run to the state championship game. You could argue this team should be undefeated right now. They barely lost to South Pitt, and they're playing really good ball.
Yeah, a little bit more complete, in my opinion, than that Columbia Academy team, and I think that was the difference. Eli Wilson, maybe one of the most slept-on players in our coverage area, and he's kind of overshadowed by guys like Tyson Walcott and Monte Baldwin and Jalen Mosley and Jared Curtis. And all those guys are in D2 single A. I mean, D2 single A has a exceptional amount of talent to be small schools, but we get the rematch we wanted, guys. It's a little bit of a spoiler as we've not shown the other score yet, but we get the rematch we wanted. As there you see, Friendship Christian won big last night. Actually went down 14-0, scored 56 unanswered to win that one. So the Commanders are going for back-to-back, and if I'm not mistaken, they're in their state championship years. I believe every year they've won it, they've went back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken.
Except one. This will be their 5th state title.
Yeah. I know they won it in, I think, 11 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would have won it against Dresden and Dresser Wins year, I think.
Let's go back to that Middle Tennessee state game. We talked about it being a really good offensive running back matchup, and it was. Eli Wilson, 220 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns. Monte Baldwin, 164. But the Cougars just incredibly efficient. 36 plays, 351 yards, 9.8 yards per play. Their time of possession was only 18 minutes for the game, whereas Columbia Academy averaged 4.8 yards per play, Their time of possession was 30 minutes. Middle Tennessee Christian, 3rd down, 2 for 5. Columbia Academy, and I think this is where the game was won. Columbia Academy, 8 of 18 on 3rd downs. But the biggest play was right before half, the goal line stop that kept the score at 14-7, Middle Tennessee. If Columbia scores there, they go in tied at halftime. Could be a completely different game. Huge play by the defense.
Yep. Brentwood Christian, there's a little bit of history made last night too, as Tyson Walcott becomes the state's all-time leading rushing touchdown scorer for a single season. He had 6 last night. He has 52 for the year, 228 yards on 26 carries. And it wasn't just Walcott. Dante Parker had 112 yards on 4 carries as they ran for 345 yards and totaled 470 in this one. So,
yep.
Friendship Christian headed to Chattanooga about as hot as you can be.
Yeah.
That defense playing well too held the Eagles to 185 total yards. 1 for 9 on 3rd downs. Again, 3rd downs are becoming a stat to watch because it's where drives go to die. And on top of what Walcott did offensively, he ended up, I think, with 6 tackles on the night too. The kid does everything.
Take the under in that game, folks. Defense.
Yeah. And, I just want to shout out. I mean, I know we did a story on him, and Tyson, buddy, we hate that we couldn't have anybody out there to cover you breaking the record last night. But from all of us, we want to say congratulations, and we'll see you in Chattanooga.
Yep, they'll be there on November 30th, 2 o'clock Central Time, for that Class A championship game, a rematch of a game the Middle Tennessee Christian won by 2 points earlier this year.
Could be the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
Hey,
on the double A
versus Tyson Walcott.
Yeah. On the double A, Davidson Academy. Now, look at this score. You'd think if Boyd Buchanan pulled away. Well, they scored in the last play of the game to make it 36-24. Davidson Academy was driving to tie with this game in the final minute and then turned it over late.
Yep. Got it down to the 25-yard line in 36 seconds. And they had it picked off. But, boy, they made everybody stand up and put some respect on that name in that game. They took him down the wire. Caden Stroud, what a night. 26 carries, 166, couple of touchdowns. But Jalen Sandifer, just too much of him in the second half. He had 107 yards in the second half, including 3 touchdowns, including the one that put him up. But, ranking notches 488, win number 488, and this is, I think, his 32nd state championship game. A great season for Davidson Academy, just comes up a little bit short.
This game was kind of went back and forth. It was a swing game. Boyd got up 10-0. Davidson Academy come all the way back to take a 17-10 lead. Boyd come back, take a 30-24 lead before that last turnover winded up doing them in. But, I'm not going to lie. I think the Bears were a little bit more competitive in this game than what I thought they would be. And that's a testament to Coach Quinn and those guys, on that sideline that, come out and wanted another shot at either FRA or CPA and just come up a little bit short. But, what a career some of those guys have had. Glenn Seabrooks is going to be a name that you hear play on SEC Saturdays in the coming years. So keep that one in mind. And also what a year Knox Roberts had as well.
Yep.
Joe, Scott, you guys were over at CPA last night. Let's go ahead and go through those highlights, huh?
Yeah, opening drive of the game, got through the ball, punching. Massive night last night. We'll see quite a few highlights. Disaster here for FRA on their first play. Bad snap, safety. Just disaster start. They're down 9-0 with CPA's very next drive. Get to Cruz Law. He's going to punch it in, untouched. Great photo Scott got of that too, by the way. You'll see it on our gallery. But FRA not going away. Michael Hassel here. He's going to punch it 8-point game after the 2-point conversion. And then FRA again, great. You're going to have Jaden Rush here. He's going to take a screen pass and virtually untouched right zone. Well, touched at the end, but you know what. CPA third quarter following a really bad punt. Cruz Law again scores his third touchdown of the night. CPA with a lot of momentum here. This is where the game turned. FRA looks like they're about to score, but they fumble it. Weston Parker scoops it up, and he is gone. CPA went from having a 7-point lead to quickly having a 14-point lead, and all the momentum flipped here early in the fourth quarter. And then as they celebrate, guess who? Cruz Law. Fourth touchdown of the night for the North Carolina commitment. CPA yet again are headed back to Chattanooga.
State championship bound. How special is this right now, man?
It is special for us, but it's expected. It's a CPA.
Obviously, last time, close game against these guys, you pulled away in the second half. Kind of the same script tonight. Were you kind of shocked by how this game kind of turned, flipped back and forth?
No, I wasn't shocked. We've been in the same spot, like you said. Like halftime, we were tied, but defense played great, offense played great second half. They couldn't stop us.
6 straight state title, state runs to state championship game. What's that say about this program and what Coach Martin's built here?
We've had great seniors ahead of us that showed us how to get to this point, and we've had great coaching staffs.
You guys established the run. Cruz really set everything off. Talk to me about what you saw out of him tonight.
Oh, when Cruz goes in, you know what's going to happen. And the whole stadium knows what's going to happen. So, like, they can't stop it. So, whenever Cruz gets in, it makes you want to block hard because of how hard he runs.
State championship game against Boyd Buchanan now. What's it going to take to bring home that gold ball?
Nothing special. Keep practicing hard, keep doing what we do, and same outcome tonight. You'll see in 2 weeks.
CPA back in state championship. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Another state championship run. Just talk to me a little bit about how special this is, especially being your senior year.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone the last 3 years, so we're definitely looking to come back. And just to get to do it with this group that we get to do it with is special. I just haven't been a part of a team. I just told them in the locker room that loves each other this much. This is the tightest group of people that I've ever been around. So just to get to go and get another one with my guys, I mean, there's nothing better I can ask for.
We know what you do defensively. Offensively, we know what you can do, but tonight you carried the load, 4 touchdowns. Did you expect to have this sort of production against that defense?
Yeah, I mean, with the guys I have up front, I knew I was going to have some success just because, I mean, they open it up. I get to do the fun part. So those guys are dogs, so it's pretty easy with them.
Coaching matchup, you got Coach Martin against Coach Rankin in 2 weeks. Just talk to me a little bit about what Coach Martin's really built here at CPA. I mean, 6 straight state championship appearances now.
Yeah, I mean, he does it better than anyone. Obviously, the stats speak, and just what he's done. He's just built like such a culture that loves so well, and they like our whole staff, like it's just the best staff I've been a part of. Brought on Coach Adams over there this year, and it's just been the biggest upgrade possible.
It's been a couple of years since you guys brought home a gold ball.
Yeah, it has.
What's it going to take to do that here in 2 weeks?
Just us playing our game, playing together. We're the only ones that can beat ourselves. Get away from penalties, rally to the ball on defense, put the ball in the end zone. That's it. Simple.
Back to state. Congrats, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. One more time, they're going to go after a gold ball after 37-16 win over FRA. That's eerily like the first game.
Yeah. That first game, it was close. Then in the late in the third and fourth quarter, they pull away. This time, though, I mean, it was Cruz Law. When they ran him out of the Wildcat, you knew what was about to happen, and FRA could not stop him. And Rawls Patterson had a couple really big runs. He's going to be special. Yeah. But, man, this CPA defense is nasty. And they're playing their best football right now. I mean, this is CPA. This is postseason CPA, like John Wayne Oliver. This is CPA football. We know what they're going to do, and this team knows they've known the last 2 years of bringing home silver, and I think they're kind of sick and tired of it.
Yeah. Truthfully, Cruz Law, he came that last touchdown. I was on the sideline, and as he passed me, I literally could feel the ground shake, and I thought I heard a train whistle. I mean, seriously, I wouldn't stand in front of that when it was coming at me. I bailed. I'm not going to lie. Seriously, that fumble recovery that all the air went off the FRA side when that happened. They were playing with them. They got down early, 16-0, came back and tied it, and it was a game. And go into at the halftime, FRA believed, and they believed, and they were coming down to answer. But that fumble, though, I think the one turn, there are 2 turnovers in the game, but one was late, didn't have the impact that this one did. Although I think they got points off of it out of that too. So just, a couple mistakes by FRA, and the Lions pounced on them.
Yeah, personally, what a great year for FRA and Coach Geisinger. But personally, best coaching matchup of Chattanooga already determined.
Yeah, easily. I think.
100%.
I mean, Ingle Martin versus Gary Rankin. Come on now.
And this is actually like version 8 or 10 or something like that. They've played each other a lot. And Ingle is one of the only coaches to be able to beat Gary Rankin in the state championship game. So, CPA is probably the clear favorite here, but never can count out Gary Rankin. So, very interesting Division II AA state championship game. But kind of wish Davidson could have made it work last night. But what a great year for both of those programs, Davidson and FRA. Represented their schools very well, and nothing to hang their hats on, and they'll be back.
I think Cruz and John Wayne both said it best. The only way CPA loses this game is if they beat themselves.
Yep. Yeah. And this will kick us off on Division II Championship Thursday. It's the 10 a.m. Central Time game in Chattanooga. So right out of the gate, we're going to get this one. It should be a good one down there between CPA and Boyd Buchanan. Now, AAA side, McCallie or MBA led this game for a little bit, but then McCallie did what McCallie does, and then they pulled away for a 33-15 win over MBA. The good second half of the year for MBA. They found some offense. Their defense was outstanding most of the year, but McCallie's just different.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. This may be Marty's best coaching job in a while. Being able to do what he did with that team, losing so much off last year's team, and by the end of the year, I think they were rightfully one of the Final Four. So what a great year for the Big Red. But Blue Tornado have been on a mission, and we've talked about it all year. Most of us projected it. We're going to get what we predicted, and 8, 10, 12,000 people come Thursday night. So it's going to be a huge crowd at Finley Stadium.
The city of Chattanooga's dream matchup is on the table. Poly and Baylor, for the first time ever in a state championship game, is going to happen.
It's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun atmosphere.
And guys,
it really will. Javon McMahon had a.
Go ahead, Scott.
Well, I was just saying that Javon McMahon had a tremendous game for McCallie, was the difference maker in this game. But what a game for Hugh Price, 163 yards passing. Defensively, Cam, I think you said it best. This may be Coach Uvar's best coaching job ever. To take this team and to be competitive in this game against McCallie. Brooklyn Davis had a solid game. This defense being what it was, you saw real growth out of this team, and it's you hate to see it end, but McCallie just way too many weapons.
Yeah, as I was saying, guys, this first year ever for us since we started. We're called 615 Preps, but we're going to cover all 9 state championship games. So be sure to follow all of our socials to get to experience the atmosphere, the highlights, the photos, everything from our weekend in Chattanooga. So we're going to cover all 9 this year.
Honestly, I mean, they're not our local teams, but that's the game I'm looking forward to the most at the moment.
For the atmosphere especially. I mean, that's going to be outstanding.
You looked last year at the crowd Baylor brought for the NBA game. You looked the year before, the crowd that McCauley bought for the NBA game. That's going to be all. It's going to be all over the field now. That's going to be fun. That's going to be really fun. And then you talk about the quarterback matchups. You talk about Amari Jefferson and a big game atmosphere. It's going to be fun.
I think UTC is going to start trying to have Macaulay play Baylor before their games, so that way there's a big crowd.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. That'll be the capper on Division II Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Kickoff for that one between those Chattanooga rivals. And fellas, that's all the damage we can do with the scoreboard show today. A little shorter because we're getting down to it, but we'll do this one more time next week, next Saturday morning, and then for Chattanooga week we will not have a scoreboard show. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, it's some fun stuff last night, some interesting stuff last night, and we now get ready for a little holiday football.
Yep.
It's that time.
Yep. It's go time. Turkey, dressing, football, practice.
Cam, don't lose Joe in Knoxville. Okay.
I promise I won't lose him. He may lose himself, but
yeah, if y'all haven't figured it out, they're headed to the UT Georgia game. Joe hasn't been to Neyland Stadium yet, so yeah, enjoy that.
Hey, by the end of the day, he's going to be a Tennessee fan because he's going to experience all of Neyland's great things, and he's going to, get to go out on the field afterwards. Maybe
I may have a Tennessee hoodie on, but I got my Notre Dame jersey underneath. It's senior night. We're beating Wake Forest. It's all good.
You just better hope nobody catches you wearing that.
I got. They'll be fine. They got bigger fish to fry today.
Well, when you're in Knoxville, you give your all for Tennessee. I mean, Dolly Parton's up there today. Come on now.
I do love Dolly. That's fair. So, Chris, I think you and I are going out Thanksgiving to see some teams.
We are Thanksgiving morning. We haven't decided where or when yet. Some logistics need to be worked out there. But, yeah, I've done Thanksgiving practice last couple of years. It's always a good time to do that and see those teams go through their walkthrough on Thanksgiving morning. It's always special for those. So, yeah,
breakfast.
Hard to beat breakfast football. Page was great last year. They're great hosts, and I want to shout them out. And then they're doing it again this year, and who knows? They wind up back out there.
There you go.
So, all right, folks, thanks for joining us for the 615 Preps Scoreboard presented by Fifth Year Technology Concepts. We're going to get out of here and let y'all have a little bit more time this morning. For Scott, for Joe and Cam, for KJ who can't be here, and for all of you who keep on watching us every week and interacting like Toby says. He's trying to get me out the page. He swears he's trying to get me out the page. He says, "Come on, Chris." We'll see. My family's doing it Thanksgiving at noon, so we'll see. I'll let you guys know.
I'll be red-eyeing in for whatever game I'm covering.
All right. That's a great show this morning. Thank you all so much for joining. We will see you guys Wednesday in the Mid-State 48 at 7 o'clock. Get you ready for those semifinals in Division I. Until then, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.